Please like this video. It will really help this story reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much for your support. By 9:07 p.m., the clock over our mantel might as well have been a judge with a gavel. Our reservation had been at 7. White tulips sat in a vase by the window, stupidly perfect, and I'd been watching the driveway from a chair that was getting less comfortable by the minute. When the door finally swung open, Lauren came in like a gust, heavy leather bag thudding onto the bench. She didn't look at the tulips. She didn't look at me. "Don't start," she threw over her shoulder. "It's our anniversary." She laughed once short. Colin buried me in quarterlies. Text next time. I don't ask permission to stay late. That was the pivot, not the being late, not the missed dinner. The way she rewrote the night and pushed it across the table like a bill I was supposed to pay. Her brother-in-law was also her boss, and suddenly he had first claim on her time, and I was the interruption. She went upstairs. The tulips hit the trash. The house cooled 2 degrees. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd have slept earlier and saved energy. Instead, I stared at the ceiling and made a list. 3 days of ice followed. No yelling. No apology. Just version 2 of the story, delivered flat whenever she walked through the kitchen. "You made it a thing. You pressure me. Everything is an audit with you. You don't trust me to do my job." "I asked for a text," I said, rinsing a coffee mug that suddenly belonged to a different couple. "And I said I'm not a teenager." She kept it distant. She knew distance works. It makes you chase. I don't chase. I adjust. I moved my calendar off our shared app. I pulled my card from the joint auto pay and set my own draft dates. I rolled back the dinner plan I was paying for with her parents next week. No showmanship, just a calm note to her mother. Work surge on Lauren's side. Let's reschedule. A boundary drawn with a steady pen. Late the third night, the phone lit my nightstand. I let it ring once, then answered. "I'm staying at the office," she said. "Audit week. Colin wants everything by morning." Her tone was practiced, as if a decision had been made above my pay grade. I pictured the glass conference rooms of Sutton and Hale Capital downtown, the light pools on polished floors, the practiced seriousness. And I pictured her car. I'd learned a long time ago that the simplest test is to see what actually is. "I'll pick you up," I replied. "What?" "No. That's. I'll be outside." "You're being intense." "I'll be outside." I repeated, set the phone down, grabbed my jacket, and left the dish towel folded the way I like it. A small, controlled life on one hook. I parked across from the building, angled so I could see the entrance. Her gray wagon sat by the curb in a tow-away zone with the hazard lights doing their little heartbeat. I didn't call to announce I was there. I just waited. A security guard walked a slow rectangle. At 12:17, the door opened. Lauren came out without her coat, hair twisted up, eyes scanning her phone. A man in a suit stepped with her, hand raised like he was drawing an arrow in the air. Colin. I'd seen him at holidays. He bounded between charm and command like it was a sport. He peeled off. She spotted the car, stiffened, then walked over and yanked the passenger door open. "I don't need a ride." "It's late," I said. "Get in." "This is controlling." "No. This is a seatbelt." She let out air, dropped into the seat, clicked the buckle, and turned to the window. The streetlight washed her face pale. The silence wasn't tired. It was a strategy. I felt the old urge to fix the temperature, to turn on music, to ask about her day. I did none of it. I drove. At a red light, I said, "There's a wall between us." Don't be dramatic. Not dramatic. Accurate. I'm doing my job. And I'm doing mine. She didn't ask what that meant. She didn't want to know. At home, she grabbed her bag and walked in ahead of me. She didn't touch the tulips. I slept on the couch that night. Not as a protest, but because I like breathing. In the morning, I drove her back. "You're not fixing this with car service," she muttered, thumb scrolling. "Not trying to fix it in a day," I answered. "Just making a note." We hit the curb outside her building at 8:05. She stepped out without looking up, and that was the moment the young admin intercepted me. Neat blazer, nervous eyes, hair in a high ponytail that made her look more earnest than she probably liked. "Mr. Ward?" she asked. I turned. "Yes." "Can we talk somewhere private?" she said, low, glancing toward the glass doors like they were wired. I studied her a second. "Name?" "Paige. Paige Lake." I looked at the brake lights ahead of me, the loading zone rules nobody enforces, then back to her. There's a coffee spot around the corner. I know it, she said. 2 blocks. Back table. Her voice told me this wasn't a calendar invite mix-up. I parked legally, texted my 11 o'clock to slide by 30 minutes, and walked. Paige chose a table half shielded by a ficus. She didn't waste time. I shouldn't be doing this, she started. Then don't, I said. She swallowed. But I can't watch it keep happening. What is it? She slid her phone across the table. Her thumb hovered before tapping play. 23:42 timestamp. Glass conference room. Lights dimmed. Lauren, no coat. Hair down now. Moving a stack of printed slides. Lips parted like she's mid-sentence. Colin walks in. He doesn't talk first. He puts a hand on her waist like he's used to finding that exact spot in the dark. She turns toward him. They don't rush. They don't negotiate. It's choreographed. They stand kissing as if the building air vents are applauding. I didn't blink. I counted 3 cars passing outside the window in the clip. I counted how long his hand stayed on her. I counted the exact second she leaned in. Numbers are calming. Paige whispered, "It isn't the first time." "That's a big sentence," I replied. "I know," she said. "Please don't make a scene. If they trace this back to me, I'm done." I slid the phone back gently. "How many people have access to this camera?" "Security, me, and 2 partners if they ask." "Partners don't ask." "Why tell me?" "Because you're not crazy," she said, and it landed like a coin in a jar. "I see you wait out front. You're reasonable. She makes you the problem. You're not." "How long?" "A few months," she admitted. "He picks favorites. Gives them late hours, special projects. Makes them feel chosen. Then when someone complains, he calls it mentorship. Everyone looks the other way because his numbers are good. And he's family." "His family," I corrected. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still listening, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps YouTube show this story to more people. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the story. She nodded. "No scenes," I said. "I'm not a scene guy." "I just couldn't." She stopped, then leaned in. "If this gets out, they'll purge anyone who knew. They'll say it's restructuring. I'm at risk just by meeting you." "You're covered," I said. "How?" "I'll handle the logistics. It won't touch you." "You can't promise that." "I just did." She bit her lip. "Please don't tell her you saw it." "Not yet." Paige let out air like she'd been underwater. "There's more if you need it." Screenshots of him assigning her travel after hours. Calendar blocks she hides under audit prep, but he's the only one there. "Send it to a private email," I said, sliding a card. "Use a fresh account. Don't send it from work. And don't talk to anyone about this, even friends you think are safe." She nodded, eyes a little wider at how fast I had steps. I stood. "You did the right thing." "Will you stay calm?" she asked. "I'm calm," I said. Outside, the sun made everything look simple. Back in the car, I changed a few things. I removed Lauren as an emergency contact at my company and updated the form with my brother's number. I stopped the automatic transfer I'd been sending to her for a project she kept almost finishing. I took my passport and a few documents from the home office and put them in the small fireproof box I keep in my trunk. I canceled our weekend barbecue with neighbors, sent a light text, "Change of plans. We'll host next month." I deleted the streaming login from the living room TV and set a guest profile without access to my accounts. Not petty. Protective. Clean lines. That evening, Lauren came home early for the first time in weeks, as if a bell had rung somewhere. She swung a bottle of red by the neck like a prize. "I got something nice." "Good for you," I said, drying a pan. "We could pick a new show," she offered. "Reset." I set the pan down. Reset requires both hands on the wheel. Translation? Transparency. Basic courtesy. You don't have it. "So we're going to sit here and sulk?" "No. We're going to sit here and keep breathing." She uncorked the bottle, poured 2 glasses, slid one toward me. "A peace offering." "Appreciated," I said, not taking it. "You're being distant." "Accurate again." "You're punishing me." "I'm adjusting," I replied. "To the conditions." "What conditions?" she shot back. "The ones you put in play." She frowned. "You're impossible when you get like this." "When I get clear?" She stared, then softened her tone like she'd found the charm setting. "Ethan, I'm tired. I'm carrying half the firm after hours. I'm trying to." "You're carrying exactly what you choose to carry," I cut in. "No more." No less. And you're what? Keeping score. I'm setting rules, I said. You don't announce your overnights. You don't prioritize us. You gaslight me when I ask for a text. So new rules. Budget separate. Plans require confirmation. No assumptions about my availability. Basic. Wow, she said, a little smile that wasn't amused. You rehearsed that. No performance, I said, pushing the unused glass toward the sink. Information. She let the smile drop. I have an early start. Colin needs. Then sleep, I said, and I took a blanket to the couch without comment. My last thought before I drifted was practical. Called Benton. The next morning I parked on Congress Avenue, in front of the old brick building where my family friend keeps a quiet law office. Raymond Benton, mid-60s, round glasses, a patience that stretches through traffic and bad coffee. He looked up when I stepped in. Ethan. Ray, I said. I need clean exit options. Talk, he replied, closing his laptop. I told him about the missed dinner, the rewritten history, the tone shift, the late-night office runs, the carry-on strategic sessions that kept multiplying. Then I told him about Paige. I didn't dramatize. I described the timestamps and the way the hand set on the waist like a routine. Benton listened without filling in. When I finished, he steepled his fingers. No accusations, he said. Just facts. Facts are enough. What's your goal? No theatrics, I said. No fights at the office. A clean break. And protection for the one person who stuck her neck out. I don't need a parade. I need consequences where they belong. I can work with that, he nodded. HR is a waste here. They exist to absorb impact. The partners are the only ones who can pull a lever on him. Partners won't act if he controls the tap, right? But there's a shareholders committee, he added, turning a legal pad. You aim above the partners, straight at the people who sign audit letters. You include a clause about retaliation against informants. You keep the tone clinical. Attach timestamps, log entries, travel approvals. Make it inarguable. And you can route it? I asked. I'll file it directly to the committee's outside counsel. It creates a record they can't bury. Do it. He adjusted his glasses. Collateral damage will include your wife. I know. Are you ready for that? I was ready when she chose secrecy and entitlement over a calendar invite, I said. Everything after that is paperwork. He gave a small, sad smile. Good. We'll draft tonight. I'll need the clip. I won't send anything from my devices, I answered. I'll bring a drive. Wise, he said, and he slid a document toward me. And start your own separation now. Finances, living routine, social calendar. No more joint fronts. It makes the next part cleaner. That process started yesterday, I said. On the way home, I stopped by my operations office, briefed my second-in-command Marcus in neutral tones that I'd be less available next week, and he'd need to run the Tuesday stand-up. He's the type who nods once and does it without turning it into a story. You good? Marcus asked. I'm organized, I said. Same thing in your language, he smirked. Close enough, I replied. The weekend came dressed as strategy. Saturday morning, Lauren called from upstairs with a voice that said she'd already booked a flight. Chicago, she shouted down the stairwell. Strategic session. Back Sunday. Got it. I answered, not moving from the breakfast bar where I was stacking receipts into a neat row. You don't care where I go now? She asked, walking into the kitchen with sunglasses on her head though we were indoors. I care about what's true, I said. Where you go is a subset. You're unbearable when you get philosophical. It's practical. I'll text you from the hotel, she offered, like a peace bead she could throw. Don't strain yourself. She gave me a long look like she was evaluating a stock that used to be steady and now had volatility. We'll talk when I'm back. We will not, I corrected. We'll do logistics. She rolled her suitcase to the door. You're not who I married. I am exactly who I married, I replied. You're just seeing the fine print. After she left, I met Benton again. We loaded the folder together, the clip on a clean thumb drive, screenshots of calendar invites labeled audit prep with one attendee, travel records showing last-minute upgrades that dovetailed with Colin's trips, expense entries appearing after midnight. Benton wrote the letter with an economy I admire. To the Shareholders Oversight Committee. Attached are materials evidencing policy violations by your executive, including use of company resources for undisclosed personal interests, supervisory conflict failures, and misrepresentation of time and travel. We request an independent review outside the HR chain. Additionally, a protected party provided archival data. Any adverse actions against archival staff during the review will be considered retaliatory and escalated. No adjectives, no heat. We included dates, times, and the protected party clause in bold legalese. He proposed we hold the send until Monday to avoid weekend scrub. I agreed. Sunday night, her flight landed at 7:10. She came through the door at 8:02 in a dress that said, "I had fun without you." She spun her phone like a coin. "Hotel was great," she chirped. "You want to see the view from the rooftop?" I set my own phone on the counter and opened a video. No commentary. No stage direction. I turned the screen toward her. 2342, the glass conference room. Her, him, the hand, the kiss that looked like a policy manual they'd both memorized. She went white, then pink, then white again. "I can explain." "I'm not a judge," I said. "Explanations are for judges. You're twisting this. It's a video." She reached toward me like she could grab the air. "We were celebrating. With your face." Her lips moved. No words that mattered came out. The dishwasher hummed in the background like the rowdiest witness in the room. "Who showed you?" she asked finally. "Not your concern," I said. "You're going to ruin everything," she said. Almost a hiss, almost a plea. "Not my department," I replied. I walked past her, opened the back door, and let the cold air cut the scene down to size. I stood on the porch, looked at the dark line of oaks, and ended the marriage inside my head. It was that simple. Once you pull the power cord, the screen fades regardless of how loud the actor screams. Inside, I heard her crying start small and get louder. It didn't change the temperature. I texted Benton, "Tonight confirmed. Send at 7:30 a.m. I also texted Marcus. "I may need to fill an admin role this week. Got someone. We'll discuss Monday." I got in the car. On the way to Greenbrook, where Megan and Colin have their suburban fortress, I thought about the first time I'd met him. His handshake that lasted 2 beats too long. The eye contact that made you think he was measuring your market cap. Family gatherings are where people mistake charm for character. The driveway was an arc of stone leading to a tidy porch. The front door was half open, which is a symbol in itself. Voices carried into the cold. "Who is Paige?" Megan demanded from somewhere inside. "And why are there locked calendar entries on Sundays?" "You're reading it wrong," Colin snapped. "This is a witch." "Don't you dare," she cut in, voice like a clean blade. "Don't you use words to twist what is right in front of me." Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still listening, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps YouTube show this story to more people. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the story. I stepped in, but didn't move past the mat. Megan saw me. "Ethan." "Evening," I said. "I won't take long." Colin moved toward me like he thought proximity would change my shape. "You need to leave my house." "Your house," Megan repeated, a bitter laugh. "Interesting pronoun tonight." "Get out," he said again, low, jaw tight. I didn't move. No shouting necessary. I came for clarity. Megan looked between us like she'd been handed the two halves of a map. "Tell me." "I have a video," I said to her, not him. "Times, dates. Glass conference room. You don't need to see it." I watched it. "It shows priority." Megan swallowed. "How long?" "A few months," I told her. "Likely longer if you dig." He uses audit prep as cover. There are travel records to match. Colin lunged a step. "You think you can slander in my home?" "Your sister deserves a full picture," I replied. "You can call anything you want whatever you want. Facts don't care." "Get out," he said, closer now, shoulders squared like a linebacker in his suit. Megan put a hand out and stopped him in a way that told me everything I need to know about who actually held the keys in this home. "Don't touch him," she said. Then to me, "Thank you. You're welcome." She turned to Colin, calm like a surgeon. "You're leaving." "I live here," he said, almost smiling. "We built this life." "You built it on my back," she said. "Pack a bag." He stared like he didn't understand English. "Now," she added, and the now had the weight of a decade of him thinking he could set all the clocks. He tried to bulldoze me on his way to the stairs. I stepped half a pace to the side, and he walked past air. There are moves that only work if people still respond to your presence. "I don't." "Ethan," Megan said, softer now that the doors upstairs were slamming. "Lauren." "Handled," I said. "You're filing?" "Yes." She nodded. I'm sorry. For all of it. Not your apology to make, I replied. But thanks. You need anything? I'll let you know, I said, and I stepped back into the night, which felt cleaner than the rooms behind me. In the car, my phone buzzed once. Benton confirming the 7:30 send. I slept fine. Monday, Sutton and Hale made a public show of being responsible. A firm-wide memo landed at 10:12 a.m., sanitized but clear. An executive terminated for policy violations and misuse of company resources. A manager separated for conflict of interest and failure to disclose inappropriate relationship. No names in the memo. Names everywhere else. I didn't gloat. I adjusted a meeting invite and got on with my day. Lauren texted at noon. We need to talk. I responded, we'll coordinate logistics through email. Keep it written. She wrote, you humiliated me. I typed, your actions produce consequences. The rest is noise. She didn't reply. At 2:40 p.m., Benton sent the draft dissolution papers for my review. Simple, he'd promised. He delivered. No fights over the house. I'd buy out her equity at the current appraised value. No crazy timelines. Split what needed splitting, done by Tuesday. She came by that night with a face arranged for pity. I met her on the porch. She tried to step in. I didn't move my foot. Ethan, please. We're not doing a script, I said. We're doing signatures. I lost my job, she said, as if maybe I'd missed the memo. I saw the memo, I replied. You're cold. I'm consistent. They'll say things, she warned. People talk, I said. Then they move on. That's the thing about attention. Never sticks to what you think it will. She swallowed, then tried the second version of softness. Oversweet, almost playful. We could start over. New routines. No, I said, and the no was not a fight. It was a closing of a ledger. She blinked, then dropped it. Fine. Email me the paperwork. It's already in your inbox. Tuesday morning, we met at Bennon's office, signed without a word. She asked no questions. She tried no last-minute bargaining. I appreciated the efficiency. After lunch, I got the only piece of fallout I still had to manage. A text from Paige. They restructured my role. Last day is Friday. I called her. She answered on the second ring. Voice small, but steady. They say it's budget, she said. I anticipated that, I replied. Do you want to work in logistics? Excuse me. My division, I said. We need a junior admin who isn't afraid of details and has a spine. Monday start if you say yes. She made a sound like a laugh got cut in half. Are you serious? I don't float fake offers. Yes. Yes. Good. HR will send the packet today. I'll have a badge at the desk Monday morning. You didn't have to. I did, I said. Not as charity. As correction. Thank you, she whispered. I was terrified you'd go nuclear. I don't do fireworks, I answered. I do schedules. Marcus stuck his head in my office as I hung up. We picking up a new admin? Monday, I said. Comes with a backstory? Doesn't matter, I replied. She knows where to put commas and what a conflict looks like. That's enough. That night, the house sounded like a different building. It was my house now in a way it hadn't been for a long time, even when both names were on the deed. There's a weight that lifts when you stop managing someone else's fiction. Lauren texted once more at 10:03 p.m. I signed. It's done. I put the phone face down and poured a glass of water. The tulips had died in the bin days ago. I put a new vase on the table, empty for now. Not as a symbol, as a placeholder. 3 weeks later, the rhythms settled. I moved a few things without asking anyone. The guest room turned into a small, clean home office with a standing desk and a chair that doesn't wobble. I swapped the sectional for 2 solid chairs and a reading lamp. Dinner got simpler and quieter. I bought a used pickup with low miles because my job needs hauling and I don't like asking favors. I went back to my Thursday racquetball with Jake, who talks like a 2-minute drill and hits like a demolition crew. I slept through the night and woke up on time without anyone else's alarm in my life. Paige started on Monday as promised. She was early, organized, asked 2 smart questions, and one that saved us an hour of rework. Marcus gave me a look from his doorway like he'd found a rare tool. Good eye, he said. I expect her to outgrow the role within a year, I replied. Ambitious, he grinned. Standards, I corrected. A month after the memo, Megan texted me a picture of her front porch with a fresh lock set sitting on a mat. No caption, None required. I replied with a thumbs up and a plumber's phone number she might need. We don't need to be friends. We need to be functional. As for Lauren, I heard through a neighbor that she'd moved into a townhouse closer to downtown. She'd taken a temporary contract helping a mid-sized firm reorganize their analytics, which is what you do when the place you put all your chips on no longer wants your presence in the room. It wasn't my business. The only point worth noting was that the power she thought she could centralize in one man's favor had evaporated when that man needed to save himself. That's the market for you. Loyalty is a word people like to use for other people. One Saturday, a month after everything, I was at Terry Black's with a small group from work. We were eating in the yard on long benches, paper plates covered in more meat than anyone needs. Marcus introduced me to a friend of his, Claire. She works supply chain for a regional grocer and has a way of asking questions that are actually questions, not traps. We talked winter inventory and why vendors think midweek counts as an actual date. She laughed at the exact places I expect a smart person to laugh. We kept it simple. We made a plan for coffee that didn't sound like a rescue and wasn't framed like a performance. That's all a man needs to tell the difference between peace and stagecraft. A week after that, I pulled into my driveway to see a single stem of white tulip laid on the doorstep. No note, no dramatics. It could have been anyone. I didn't waste energy on guessing. I picked it up, set it in the vase on the kitchen table, and sent Claire a text. Thursday still good? She replied, better than good. I smiled, not because anything was perfect or because I needed to prove a point, but because the math checked out. Boundaries plus action equals a life you can recognize. For what it's worth, if you're waiting for a grand finale with shouting and broken plates, you'll be disappointed. That's not how grown men finish. We make a plan and we execute. Clear signals, clean hands, a final sentence that closes the book. I gave mine to Lauren the last time we crossed paths, by accident, at a grocery store where people pretend not to notice each other. She reached for the same pack of sparkling water, looked up, opened her mouth like she might start the story again. I shook my head once. No more scripts. She lowered her eyes. You didn't have to ruin me, she murmured. Stop flattering yourself, I replied. You did the heavy lifting. I pushed my cart past hers. At the register, I added a bouquet of tulips because they looked fine in the light. I put them on my passenger seat and drove home the long way, past Lady Bird Lake, where the joggers chase an endorphin they'll never catch. I don't chase. I move the line and keep walking. You can call it cold. You can call it harsh. I call it maintenance. And when someone tries to sign your name on a contract you didn't agree to, you pull out a pen and write your own terms. Then you hand it to them, calm and clear, and finish with the only line that matters. We're done here. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.